47 Ronin stars that one guy who played Thomas Anderson.
Mr. Anderson?
As he leads a band of samurai out to avenge the death of their master at the hands of an evil shogun. The film, a fictional recount of a historical 18th century Japan, told through the eyes of a stoned teenager, is one of the biggest box office bombs of all time, and today's lost and found choice. Pop Tot, what did you think of 47 Ronin?
There's a lot to like about this movie, and there's a lot to really dislike about this movie.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Keanu Reeves, although he pretty much, like most of the major men or leading men in Hollywood, pretty much play the same character.
Do you speak for the entire human race?
I like the visual style. I love Japanese culture. I love the medieval Japanese shogun / Ronin, that kind. I really like those aspects of the movie.
Okay.
The movie is really just not stitched together well.
No, not at all.
There's way too much fantasy added to an actual story that's both a fable and something that's told in Japanese culture.
Roger, right. The movie had so much behind the scenes issues, and it is clear as day. They finished filming the movie in early 2011 and then decided to do reshoots a year and a half later, which is never a good idea.
You came to me. I got you a car. I brought you your clothes. You took a fucking bubble bath.
So I've never seen this before. I don't think you have either.
No, I've never seen this movie.
And I was not expecting the supernatural elements to be as significant as they were, and it never gelled well enough to make it interesting. The film's director, which is this, I think his name is Carl Reinsch or Wrench or however. I apologize, Carl, for getting your name wrong. He wanted to do an art house samurai film, like Seven Samurai or something like that, and the studio wanted to do a big VFX movie. And so that contrast is very apparent, and it just doesn't really work when it should.
The parts I loved about it was the actual medieval part of Japanese history.
Yep.
And I kept thinking to myself, this would have been a great movie if they just told the actual fable, the actual story of 47 Ronin, and pulled all that fantasy garbage out.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, and it's weird because there's a lot of little nuances that carry over from Shogun, which I think Shogun's probably the best show I've seen in the last 5 years. And one of those...
That also had Hiroyuki Sanada.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Hiroyuki Sanada. He was one of the main lords. Keanu Reeves' character, he's what they call a half-breed. He belongs to these weird, like, alien people or something. I don't know what the hell they are.
But you fled. And you turned your back on those gifts.
Gifts of death.
Oh, the bird monks?
Yeah, the bird monk alien people. I felt like I was tripping on serious acid when that whole thing happened.
Oh, twosomes, threesomes, it doesn't matter. Starfish, husbands, you don't give a fuck. You'll just fuck anything. You'll just fuck anything.
Then there's like the one samurai guy is like 13 feet tall. I was like, wait, what?
The bad guys were kind of inconsequential, but not really.
Oh, yeah.
You have Lord Kira, which his demise was quick and there was no glory to it. There was just no like satisfaction when he finally met his end. The witch was okay, but the difficulty level wasn't that hard. And then the 13-foot tall samurai guy, he gets blown up and immediately just disseminated by an explosion. I was like, wait, what?
This movie gets right on how to use Keanu Reeves, which I love Keanu Reeves, but he's not a great actor. I'm not even sure he's a good actor, but he's very good at playing that emotional, stoic, hurt kind of thing where he says a couple lines and they're very...
Your men are safe. You've got your swords.
I don't want to say nuanced, but stoic.
What use am I to you? Either follow me or go back to what you were.
And, this is very much like Neo or John Wick or something like that, where he's not given a lot of screen time, or at least a lot of dialogue, to emphasize his character, which I really like.
Look at me and tell me you don't love me.
I'll always love you. But you have your place. And I am mine.
Previously mentioned Hiroyuki Sanada. I would watch him sell me toilet paper.
石堂殿、何卒ご容赦くだされ。
I mean, he's an incredible actor. He's something about him, especially on Shogun, your eye is just drawn to him.
I should have acted the day Lord Asano died. Our anger should have been sudden and swift.
The antagonist and his witch, that is, at this point, 2013, has been used so many times.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just two to think of is The Crow, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Mm-hmm.
You have this guy that's looking for power, and you have some witch that's feeding him crap.
What did you mean by that?
It's really, it was kind of retreaded at this point and just a little overdone. And I think that's where the CGI effect were probably the worst, is when she was flapping around like a blanket or something.
Well, and that there's a scene, the big finale scene where they're fighting, and that scene with Keanu's character versus her, that's 100% a reshoot. That like, it felt so out of place with the rest of the movie. I mean, it's basically just him and I think his love interest or whatever, and he's just fighting in the courtyard of this giant CGI thing, and it's like, oh yeah, this is 100% a reshoot they threw in.
The production notes did dictate that a lot of, during that year, was them adding more screen time for Keanu's character.
Yeah. You can see the money. He spent anywhere from 175 to 225, which I didn't understand, because this Carl Wrench guy, again, sorry, Carl, he had no background or filmography or anything like this, and they gave him this massive, 175 is a lot. Oppenheimer was done for under 100 million. It's a 3-hour movie by an established director and writer. The film did 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. It only made 151 million, so that's considered a bomb.
I did like the production design. I like the sets. I loved when the Shogun, played by Hiroyuki Tagawa, who the last time I saw him was in The Man in the High Castle.
Yep.
He's a wonderful Asian actor as well.
You fool!
The production of him, the Shogun visiting Akko, was really was wonderful. And again, like I said, if you just take those fantasy visual things away and make it more like Shogun, I would have been perfectly fine with the movie.
Yeah, and apparently that's what this director wanted to do, and he lost the battle with, ironically, Warner Brothers and Walter Hamada, which, if anybody knows Warner Brothers and Walter Hamada, he was basically the kingpin in destroying the extended DC universe and making it the mess that it was. And he had a hand in here, and that clearly shows up. And apparently Wrench, who was in the editing room, which is very common for a director to do so, he was kicked out for an executive that basically did the rest of the movie.
You think I care?
But interestingly enough, the cinematographer, which is, you kind of pointed out too, the cinematography is very good in this movie, was done by John Mathieson, and he was nominated for Gladiator. He also did the cinematography for Logan, Matchstick Men, and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. So he's had a very illustrious career, unlike Carl Wrench, who did not, and I'm not going to get into that because it's this huge legal battle, but his career seemed to close very quickly, unfortunately.
Did he do anything after this movie?
So they tried to do a Netflix series or movie. He had a lot of personal issues, it seems like, maybe even with drugs, allegedly. I don't know. But there was this huge lawsuit because he just apparently walked out during this whole creation of this 47 Ronin thing and this Netflix series. So, and he hasn't done anything since. So that's kind of interesting.
I don't lose!
As usual on Lost and Found, we rate things by loss. You ignore it. You go watch Steven Seagal's latest movie, if he's still alive. I don't even know if Steven Seagal's alive. I don't know. He's probably in Russia.
I think he went to Russia. I think he's hiding out in Russia.
Hide in Russia, whatever. Or Found. You seek it out on a weekend watch like we often do. Pop Tot, where are we putting 2013's 47 Ronin?
as much as I'm a fan of Keanu Reeves, I would say just go ahead and skip this. Do yourself a favor and just watch the miniseries Shogun. But this one, it was started in the right direction and just ended completely flat. And I think it just killed the entire movie. And the fantasy aspect, the visual effects just completely pulled me out from an otherwise what would have been a great film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think this is one of those movies that is, Google the definition of studio involvement. This is going to be right up there with everything else. It just feels like there's way too many cooks in the kitchen. And there's so much here that should work. You got Keanu Reeves, but he's used correctly. You have one of the greatest working actors today in Hiroyuki Sanada. You have a cool concept, and it's just pulled every which way. You have this gigantic budget, but the film doesn't feel that expensive. It's 2 hours, probably shouldn't have been 2 hours. It's just kind of all over the place. And there's scenes I really like, but there's scenes that are so confusing, and it's unfortunate to see that kind of money be used so poorly, but hey.
I mean, to think about it, Universal took a $175 million turd on this.
Yep. So I think you could probably skip it, as unfortunate as that is, or just watch a couple clips on YouTube, whatever. As usual, thank you guys so much for watching, for supporting. Be sure to smash that like button. We are taking recommendations, so go ahead, leave a couple down below. Those always help. Did you like the movie? Were we too hard on it? Please let us know, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thanks, guys.
You will find nothing